And what are your thoughts on how Georgia's going to try to attack this game? What are your thoughts on Stetson Bennett? From all indications, it seems that he's going to be starting this game as well. And do you think that, they have a chance to win this game?
Oof. Mr. Bennett, he's more of like the typical game manager. That's what he is. He plays within a certain frame. Doesn't turn the ball over a lot. Just does his thing. Runs occasionally when he has to, and as long as he doesn't screw up or he gets tight. From the last fiasco when they played Alabama, they should be fine.
I still don't know why they've decided to stick with Bennett at quarterback. I thought the chemistry that JT Daniels had with Pickens at the end of last year when they won out was fantastic. So for Georgia to stick with Bennett at quarterback, I think that this is going to have to be more of a game manager. He seems to lock in on Bowers a lot, which is fine for the most part because he's such a dynamic weapon for them. As long as Bennett doesn't do anything catastrophic like he did against Alabama, I think Georgia can pull this out in a very close game. This is the best semifinal matchup in the college football playoff era, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've read so much about all the hate that Stetson Bennett has taken since the SEC championship game. And granted, he did throw those 2 interceptions, one of them being a pick six. But think about before that and how he's played throughout the season. I think he averaged like 10 yards per attempt, which is a really, really good stat. The guy's a walk-on, and he does a really good job with his legs, extending plays and extending drives on third down. I think they need to go back to that.
When you're comparing Bryce Young to Stetson Bennett, it's like comparing a future top 5 pick to a guy that's probably going to be at best an undrafted free agent. When you're comparing Cade McNamara to Stetson Bennett, I think McNamara is a guy that's probably a drafted free agent too. I think the guy who gets drafted is going to be J.J. McCarthy, and he's not probably going to play other than in kind of a utility role. And I think Stetson Bennett plays a crappy game. I think that's why. And I know that to touch on just quickly the whole Stetson Bennett starting, JT Daniels was a highly rated recruit, and he was one of the highest rated recruits coming out. But I saw him at USC. I follow the Pac-12. I saw him even play at Georgia. I just don't think he's that great. So obviously that's why Bennett's better. I know he had a couple good games, but for the most part, I think he's just been a pretty marginal quarterback at the collegiate level. I think he's very overrated because of his high school recruiting ranking. So that's my thoughts on that. Sorry, I just thought I'd delve into that issue a little bit because there's a lot of hand wringing. Oh, Bennett's starting, and they're not going to play JT Daniels. I'm like, I never thought he was that great.
I agree with you. And I think Kirby's even gone almost as far to basically say that Bennett just flat out beat him out. Beat him out in competition, whether it was at practice or in fall camp. And obviously, JT's had his struggle with his injuries and things like that. But I agree with you. He was just flat out better than him. And that's why he's not out on the field. And I know, there's always been the Bulldog fans that say Kirby has struggled mightily with the quarterback position in terms of talent evaluation, whether that be going back to Jake Fromm and Eason and Justin Fields and all those guys.